What's up, this Carcino, man? Uh, Out of any video requests I've gotten, I get this probably the most of any request ever. More than Jay-Z and Nas or 50 Cent or Eminem. I get this request so constant. And then somebody, I think Comedy Hype or something, put out a video doing the truth behind or something about Kenan and Kel, and everybody started hitting me up like crazy. Like, you have got to tell the story. Oh man, did they? I'm like, I haven't really watched theirs. I watched some of it, and it was very well done. Um, Sounds like they got their ducks in a row a little bit. I mean, know a little bit more detailed a little bit, but I do this as tasteful as possible. I never wanted to make this video ever. I just want to do it so my email can calm down. You guys are really pushing this one. Like, this guy been here for 3 years, dude. I've been asking you, and I'm donating to the Cash App. I went to Carcino on the Cash App and I put the money in. I went to Streamlab. I left you a message in the Streamlab and let a donation. He been donating constantly. And I even told him, look, man, I don't really want to do this one because I like know when you know the people, it's different. But I'm like, well, let me do it. I can do this one tastefully, it can be done. So this is the truth behind the Kenan and Kel breakup, or why they went their separate ways at one point and didn't speak for a while. And here we go. As we start everything, we start from the beginning. From the beginning, um, as you know, I know Kel through my cousin. My cousin was rapping with Kel. Never knew Kel before then, and Kel lived right around the corner from my house. So in Chicago, Illinois, of course, right? So I'm on the block that Kel lives on because I'm talking to a girl that stays on the block. I happened to run into my cousin who actually told me that they be breakdancing in the middle of the street. So he's actually there with Kel, and that's the first time we met. And I see him do all the dance moves you see him do, and breakdance moves he's been doing all this crazy footwork and all this stuff. So met all these guys at this moment in time. Him, Fred, Rob, the whole gang. And everything was cool. Next thing you know, the guy like gets into a talent show that they were doing. They had an audition for a talent show, and he auditioned for this talent show and got approved. He didn't win, but he got auditioned for another show, and there was a producer there named Brian Robbins. Brian Robbins used to be an actor that you probably know mostly for Head of the Class. That was like the hit TV show that had Mike Tyson, former wife Robin Givens. I hate Robin. Don't mention her name in front of me no more. So Robin Givens and Brian Robbins, he was like the star kid with all the hair. It's crazy now seeing him without the hair because he had the wild hair back then. So this process came along to where Nickelodeon was thinking of a kids show to rival against Disney. This is the first time they really went into this idea of trying to make this variety like show with children, like the Mickey Mouse Club or something, but different, like sketch comedy. So they were like, okay, we're gonna pitch this idea, Mike Tomlin and Brian. So they're watching this talent show to see these kids, and they see Kel, and Brian Robbins saw something in him immediately and said, he didn't win the contest. Somebody else won it, but he's like, you know what? I'm coming out with a show. You might be perfect for it. I want you to come and audition. So he came down the audition. Kenan Thompson was at the audition. A couple other people were there. And Kel did well at the audition and he got the role for this part. Now, during this time, I'm working, doing what I do, and I get the word that, yo, Kel got this audition for this new show. It's going to be on Nickelodeon. Tell everybody to watch it. So at the time, we were on the military base. We got like all the kids from the military base packed in to watch the event. TLC did the hook for the show, and all that was born. From the first episode, it took off, and it was it was on and popping. So now Kel is like the show goes on. He's like a household name, and people know him now. He, he's doing his thing, but in the business, he still in his heart of heart, he's a musician. He loved music. He loved rapping. He loved his group, and he's just trying to get his group on. And he talked to Brian. Brian, we got musical guests in there because Brian Robbins was also connected with Russell Simmons and Def Jam. He always had his ear with music and hip hop, so he would help promote some of the hip hop artists that was coming up in the game with all these A&Rs that he had connections with. And Russell would send like Method Man or whatever artist he had to have him get exposure on Nickelodeon. They had Keith Murray on there when Keith Murray was popping. They kept sending artists and having musical guests on there like every week. So Kel was like, man, one week, just let me and my boys come on here and show you what we got. So he brought his group out there, and my cousin and all them went out there and performed. It it was nice. It's on YouTube. You guys can check it out if you want to go see it. Now, moving right along. The show is very successful. The schedules is probably getting hectic, and the older you are, the more you're able to understand things from a position where they're seeing a whole different world. And then when they come home, it's like back to the reality of alleviating all the stress of having to deal with things back there. And he was homesick, and he had never been away from home that much. So he was basically renting an apartment down in Orlando where they was filming, and he came home for like a couple of like about 4 weeks, I think, and he was just homesick and he was just glad to be home. So the family was all there, and they're a very tight knit family, his family and everything. So parties was at the house, very tight knit. Everything was close and everybody was cool. It was all great, love, no problem. So the show ended up moving eventually to California, from Orlando to California. And that's when the world's changed. And that's when things started to happen. Kel was getting his own show with Kenan, the Kenan and Kel show. So these things are starting to happen for him. Um, and they're bringing in a new character on the show named Nick Cannon, who came in on the show, and Kel was getting ready to do Kenan and Kel, so it was like, well, he's doing two shows, and he's like, well, I'm not going to be on all that as much. If I'm doing me and Kenan are going to be doing the show, we're going to kind of taper off, and most of the skits are going to be done by the other castmates, plus they were bringing in Nick Cannon. So Nick came on the show, and right away, some of the fans thought he was just a replacement for Kel. Like, he's replacing Kel, so he wasn't getting well received at first, and then Kel kind of endorsed him, like, no, no, he's a good guy, don't boo him, and like, no, he's good, he's a good guy. So he kind of endorsed him, and and kind of got him through the door. But he didn't really know anybody out there. He was sleeping in his car, and if it wasn't for Kenan had a 2-bedroom condo down in Cali. And he told me, he's like, man, dude, you sleeping in your car, dude? All the money you get making, you can't get a place. He was like, nah, I ain't got nothing yet. He don't know how the show was gonna play out, so he was just saving his money. He's like, you know what? I got an extra bedroom, dude. You can just stay in my crib. And from that point on, that's when Nick and Kenan got really close. And Nick Cannon and Kenan, they would start hanging out together, doing stuff together, and that's when that bond started there with those two. And a lot of people feel like that's what split Kel and Kenan up, because those two used to do a lot of things together. Um, Kenan came to spend like a week of his vacation with Kel. When he came home, he came to Chicago with Kel, because Kel used to be like, man, you got to come home with me, man. So he brought Kenan with him one time, and we met Kenan for the first time. He was cool as a fan, and next thing Kel's taking him different places, and it was funny because Kel's mom was like, "Yeah, we're gonna go to my auntie's house. We're gonna go over there. We're gonna take some pictures." And then Kenan looked at Kel like, "Hey man, I ain't come down here for this." That was funny. He had on these like lokes, like real low glasses. He looked at Kel like, "Look, man, I ain't come down here for this, bro." Oh man, it was totally hilarious, man. Because they are entirely different. They have the greatest working chemistry probably ever, as far as comedy and timing, comedic timing, and everything. They're very good, but they're so opposite. It is unbelievable. Like Keenan is more like hanging out with Too Short, you know, going to the strip club. That was his life back then. That's what he would want to do and say, it would be a good night if I was to get to the strip club as quickly as humanly possible. So that's how they were doing it. Kel wasn't that guy. Kel's more like how he was on the show. Fun loving, high energy, trying to make other people laugh. That was him. He was more closer to that character than anything else. Now, going back to where Nick and Kenan is mostly spending a lot of time together. They're getting a lot of requests. Kenan and Kel got a lot of requests for things like other television shows, because when they were in Cali, everything was on the same set. Sister Sister, Steve Harvey Show, the Hewleys, all of the black shows were all on like one set. So in the lunchroom, you would meet all the people you want to see. And they appeared on Sister Sister one time together and did a show because people wanted that magic. They wanted that Kenan and Kel magic. So they were like, look, we're going to start doing this now. And they started doing the Sister Sister show. Then on the Steve Harvey show, they kept bringing Kenan and Kel back on the show because they were so funny on that show and people loved it when they were on there. Then Kel went back, I believe, on his own, and they didn't have Kenan on there at that time. And Kel was back one time, and he was riding in the car with me, and he was like, man, I'm thinking of leaving. I'm like, leaving? Yeah. Thinking of, man, I might just do Steve Harvey. I might just go do that show, man. I mean, it's right down the hall. I might just do that show. And I'm like, you got a hit show on Nickelodeon. You got another hit show. You can go on all that all you want. And he was, man, Brian be tripping. So, he didn't really go into emphasize what the issues were, but this is the first time I ever really seen him like stressed ever. And then he's talking to me about it. And I'm like, that's weird. Me and him never really had no conversations like this. I thought he would probably talk to my cousin or somebody like that about it. But whatever the issue was him and Brian, it just couldn't get worked out. And he complained about he wanted Fridays off, and he got it. Ended up getting Fridays off, and it was becoming stressful in the workplace as far as working together on the set for the Kenan and Kel. So that when the season was over, and plus Kel was being looked at for movie roles. Like he had a whole bunch of like movies set up, the audition, and he had the part. He had the Mystery Man movie coming out. So Kel was looking to go to bigger places. He's like, I'm finna do a Ben Stiller movie, Mystery Man. It's been a big budget movie. Then another big budget movie was on the table. A lot of stuff was on the table for him at this time, and this show is just like it's this, he's growing up. So people gotta understand, like his success was very young. So he's going through his 18, 19, 20s, 21. He's got kids now. He's married, got a wife. So it's like you got a wife now, you got kids coming. It's now a whole different world, and the stress of that. Just getting married, just having a child. And he's a kid himself, basically. He's got all these bills, and all these things is stressful. Not to mention, you probably have my cousin and the rest of the band members is like, yo, what's up with the music? And it's a lot to juggle. It's a lot to juggle. And back then, a lot of people probably couldn't understand it because we weren't in a position to understand these type of things back then. This is like way out your pay grade. But even then, I told him, I said, well, don't leave Nickelodeon because I'm like, think about how many shows have been canceled over there. Steve Harvey could walk away from that show and then it's over. Steve don't have to really do the Steve Harvey show. Steve could walk into a whole nother bag of money or a project of big money, and then you'll just be left out there. You don't want that situation. So I wouldn't rotate over to the Steve Harvey show. That's the best advice I could give him. And I'm like, I would just stick with Nickelodeon because I'm thinking like, as long as the shows don't get canceled, they can run forever. But he was just burnt out, man. He just wanted to do something different. He didn't want to continuously do this, and they had the two shows, and pretty soon he wasn't doing all that no more. He was just doing Kenan and Kel. Then he had his Fridays off, but him and Brian kept bumping heads, and it was over. At the end of the season, the show was over. And from what I heard, Kenan and him didn't talk no more after that for a long period of time. Now, from what I heard, they were pretty cool and everything. Like they appeared in Rocky and Bullwinkle movie together. Made an appearance in that. That was beforehand. But after that was over, it was said that Kenan was upset with how that happened because they ended up canceling that show. Kenan wasn't ready for that. He wasn't in position for this to happen like that. So, when Kel just couldn't work it out with Brian, it killed the Kenan and Kel show, and all those other people were out of work, and that made Kenan feel a certain way. So he didn't want to speak to Kel for a while because of that. And, you know, that's what I heard what the riff was. That's the only riff I heard between the two. But they were cool. Like he would speak when he said like, but it would be very short. It was never the same like it used to be. It was just him and Nick, that dealt with each other at the time, and Nick became, the biggest thing ever. He just went on to do music right after that, and he was a gigolo. And he started getting executive producing and doing his own things and getting in movies. And one thing he did was when Nick was going up, he took Kenan with him. Kel did Mystery Men, and Mystery Men failed at the box office. Mystery Men failed at the box office due to the fact that Blair Witch Project came out at the same time. A multi-million dollar film. All those multi-million dollar films came out, lost to a film that cost like $15,000 to make, if that. And it took in hundreds of millions of dollars. A movie with a camcorder. Because at that time, there was no internet like how we have now. So people thought that these people were really missing, and they were able to keep that a secret until the movie was released. And, people were stupid enough to actually believe it in the first place. That's what was troublesome. I'm like, you were stupid enough to really believe that these people were missing. Unreal. So, unfortunately for them, the people who would normally go see this movie with all the marketing and mass production promotion, that was all thrown away from word of mouth of a film that had all the kids running to school to go see it to be terrified. The Blair Witch Project. And that bankrupted a lot of movie companies because a lot of people had big movies coming out that year that just flopped based on the immediate impact of a movie out of nowhere with no promotion whatsoever. So now, after this is completed and done, and whatever you want to call it, the Mystery Man didn't come without a snag rather. Mystery Man came around with the controversy of a nude scene with Kel Mitchell. They wanted him to be nude. It's supposed to be for the movie Invisible Boy, where he turns invisible. And he's like, well, we're not going to show you nude. You're just going to be, it's for the film. His mom didn't think it was necessary for the film, didn't want him to. It was like, why he can't wear shorts? Why does he have to be completely nude? So they fought with the producer and the director and everybody else. They don't want him to ruin his good Christian image. So they had to protect that. And naturally, I understand it. And finally, they caved and they did the scene. And it was an empty set. And, he did the scene. It was over with. They moved forward. Another incident came up. He was supposed to be in the movie Me, Myself, and Irene. He's supposed to be one of the three kids. Now, as we know from watching Me, Myself, and Irene with Jim Carrey, there's a lot of profanity in that movie. Excessive. So they read the script, and Kel's mother, who was his manager at the time, like, my son's not going to be saying all this. Why does he have to say this? Can we amend it? They wanted to amend some of the language in there for him because, this would ruin his good Christian image. So that wasn't going to happen. He ended up pulling out from the film, and they went elsewhere. and grabbed another person to play the role of the brothers. Now, in Hollywood, because of these producers and managers and guys who are in position, or people who you might not have rubbed the right way, or they got friends in the business, they could write down things in your black book, that a file that like goes with you everywhere, that says are difficult to work with. That's basically kryptonite for any actor in the movie business. And unfortunately, for the nicest person probably in the world who would do anything for anybody at that time, he was labeled with this and was going to have a hard time trying to navigate through the business with this type of label on him for no reason. So for years, they didn't speak to each other, and Kel was doing what he could. He was Clifford. He did the voice, a lot of voice acting. On a couple of roles, he did Wild Grinders, some other movies. I've always supported him in everything that he did because he was always a good person. And when somebody's a good person, you help them out. I stand with you as long as you good and you're a good person, dude. I'll support you. I'll support you all the way through. As long as you don't compromise who it is. I don't care that they turned down the, you know, movie roles and all that. I don't care about stuff like that. If you did it because of integrity, there's no dollar amount you could put on integrity, especially with me. So I was all for it. Um, he ended up having another child. Then shortly after, he ended up divorcing and changing his life. And around 2010, 2009, like 2010, around that time, he really started to, get his life back together, and doing things. He actually got a great movie that's out. With him and Cat Williams actually is in the movie. Like he wrote, him and Kenny wrote and produced the film called Gang. It's a funny, silly movie with a lot of up and coming comedian and young actors in there. It's a pretty funny movie. So if you get a chance, check that out. You find it. Uh so basically, they started speaking again, once they, got past everything else. They both auditioned for Saturday Night Live. And Kenan got it and Kel didn't. It was no Kel never had a problem with Kenan. It was mostly Kenan with the, holding a grudge for all these years, and they finally let it go or whatever after he realized it's dumb. To hold a grudge over somebody who didn't want to do something no more. You could have talked to him. He would have told you. I'm quite sure, for those other people, it's bad. But if somebody can't do something and they want to leave, you know, it's just you gotta understand, man. People young, they 22 years old probably at that time, and now look, because they both good people, opportunities come back around full circle. Kel's remarried now, got a new kid. He's doing good. He's in another good space. Got good things happening to him. When you blessed, you have good energy around you. Good things are gonna happen to you. It's just a matter of time. You just have to be patient. And now things have to come back around full circle. Nick and Kel are good. Kenan's good. It's all love. It's like everybody's coming back around. It's like that's the new cool thing now. patching up and, renewing bonds. That's the new end thing, and everybody needs to get a part of it. That's the new cool. Anyway, I'm out. Don't forget to support the page, man. You like what you heard, hit the like button. Um, Definitely, you can catch us with the super chat, support the page. You can click the link in the description box, leave me a message in the Streamlab, or you could hit me in the Cash App. I'm Carcino on the Cash App, and that's it.